Welcome to Rockstars Uncensored with Laura Hargrove. Today I would like to say thank you to today's sponsor, Big Willie's ATP. With the state's largest incense, you can get 10 for $2.50, 30 for $5.50, 100 for $18. You can also check out their hemp jewelry, collectible knives. They are located at 3028 Memorial Highway on the Strip, Bismarck, Mandan. Big Willie's ATP, where everyone leaves with a smile. I have Willie Psycho Carter online, and we will get him on. Willie, are you with me?
Hey, Laura, what's up? I'm here.
Hi, sweetheart. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Long time no talk.
Yes. So anything exciting you've been up to lately?
Just doing the whole music thing. I think you know a lot about it, and I'm pretty sure you're going to ask me about it, so I'm going to tell you.
I want everyone else to know about it. Okay, Willie. I know your name is actually Willie Carter, so can you please tell me where the psycho comes in?
The psycho came in probably because, I don't know, pretty much all my friends that know me, I got just a little bit of a wild reputation for jumping off speakers and doing some pretty insane things. Nothing too bad.
And you even...
Okay, I'm lying. Some things are really bad, but
See,
it's all for entertainment. And the name just kind of stuck with me, so I kept it.
And how long have you had the psycho name?
Well, about 10 years.
Wow. Now I know you encourage people when you play to come and jump off the stage.
Wait, what's that last part? I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Am I moving too far away from the mic?
Just a little bit, not too much.
Okay, what I was saying was I know that you even encourage people that come to the shows to jump on the stage and then jump into the crowd.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And you're a bass player. When did you start playing the bass?
Well, actually, I started playing guitar when I was 17, and I really sucked. I was an awful guitar player, so Dad bought me a bass about a year and a half later, and then the rest is history. So since I was 18, about a little over 20 years.
Now, the bass is considerably easier to play than the guitar. I know I'm just learning how to play the bass myself. Basically, teaching myself because all my music buddies claim that they're going to come and help me and don't. So could you give me a little bit of advice on picking up my bass at home all by myself?
Well, the one thing I can tell you is bass is not easier than playing guitar. Anybody that tells you that, they're full of shit. Bass is way more difficult than playing guitar because there's a lot more. Well, that's if you're just like a punk rock bass player, that's easy. That's kind of pretty much a joke. But if you know how to play your instrument, it's a whole lot different than playing guitar because you have bass and drums go hand in hand.
Sure.
The bottom end, it's the rhythm. It's what pretty much keeps the guitar player can go off and do anything and sound good. But if you don't know how to play bass and keep in time and in tune and everything with your drummer, then it's not going to be good. So that's a myth. I just wanted to correct that.
Well, I guess maybe I should have reworded that. Is like, you know, because I've played a little electric guitar. I've played drums, starting the bass. And one thing I noticed that was really hard about the bass is spreading your fingers that far. I mean, the neck and, you know, in between the frets is, and I do not have the biggest hands by any means. But, I mean, can you give me, like, some ideas on how to actually start thumping it? I'm like one of these people, I understand the whole basics of it, but I want to be a rock star with it. What did you do? All right.
I know, I'm trying to be funny. Just if it's really hard for you to stretch your fingers out to fret all the notes, you can always get a scaled down bass, which is essentially still a bass, but just a smaller version of it, and that'll make your life learning how to play bass that much easier.
The exercises that I do are finger stretching, like you do your 1, 3 fret, 2, 4. You understand what I'm talking about, right? Learning to stretch your fingers. So, all right, we will move on. Another thing I just find absolutely fantastic about you, Willie, and this is also something that's very close to my heart, is you are involved in dog rescue.
Absolutely.
Can you tell me a little bit about maybe some of the things you've seen, what you've done, how much you're involved?
Well, we've been doing it, in a certain group that, I can't exactly mention their name.
Sure.
Nobody wants to get arrested or get in trouble. But we've been doing animal rescues, 99% dog rescues for about a little over 15 years. And I'm just, I really can't fucking stand people that abuse animals, people that will move out, like a neighbor that I won't mention moved out. They just abandon their dog and stuff like that. And as soon as we get the organization that I work with, like I said, I can't mention their name, as soon as we get wind of an animal being abused, we're going to either do one or two things. We are going to, go get the animal ourselves, or half the time, which I really don't like doing, but we have to bring the police department or the SPCA with us to make sure we don't violate any laws to rescue that animal and find it a home. I've been doing this for 15 years, and besides music, that is probably about the most important thing to me in my life that I do. I cannot stand people that abuse animals. It really makes me mad. I'm
totally with you. I've been in fist fights over seeing dogs abused, and sometimes, like these, I know that they're educational videos to understand what happens, but sometimes I've seen incredibly sickening videos that it keeps me awake at night. It literally will make me puke. I have no idea, no reason to why somebody does that. I understand, like, serial killers, that's how they start out. They start out by killing animals. But I'm talking about these jerks that abuse an animal. And to me, like, I noticed a lot of it is like potty training, and it's like they don't understand that it's a baby. Just like the diaper, you gotta wean it. Beating it is not going to control its bladder. It makes me just, I want to say the F word so bad, sick.
Oh, yes, it is. I'm sorry.
It does. It just...
I apologize about that.
Oh. So, can you tell us, estimated, how many dogs do you think you've rescued over the last 15 years? Usually, with the organization I work for, last year we did about 65. Wow.
And this year we've done about 5 or 6. It's not a lot, but we're doing what we can. Every little bit helps. Yes, everything. Even donating to your Humane Society with food and money for shots, all that kind of stuff helps in the end. These poor animals don't have a choice. We're the ones that domesticated them. They don't live off anybody else but us. So please support your animal shelters. Yeah, we mainly focus on finding them homes versus getting them
euthanized,
put into the shelter in the Humane Society, because a lot of dogs. And granted, the Humane Society, they do what they do, but 9 times out of 10, if a dog winds up in a Humane Society, if it's an older dog or a slightly aggressive dog, or it's not so cutesy, pantsy, fancy, whatever, that some little kid or little wants, they're going to put the dog to death. They're going to essentially they're going to execute him. So we focus on finding really the most at-risk animals. We focus on finding them homes of people that will care about them, that will take care of these animals. We try to avoid the animal shelters, and they do a very good job. I'm not going to knock them, but we try to avoid them if possible. Well, my understanding, I'm not sure if the Humane Societies across the United States are the same way, but
I know here in North Dakota is we are not a euthanized state. We keep or find animals. So I'm not sure if, like California, if there is a euthanization thing with the
That's
Humane
different.
Society. But
Different from California. California, if somebody doesn't rescue the dog, or not rescue the dog, if somebody does not adopt the dog out, they'll kill him. Just play like that. No one comes to get the dog after a month or two, or however. I'm not sure the exact date. They'll just give the dog the needle and euthanize it, and just like that. That's how California is. It's a wonderful state over here.
well, that's unfortunate. Now you were recently with a band called Long Beach Rehab. Can you give me a little info on what kind of band that is and your experience with that band?
Long Beach Rehab. Well, let me tell you a little story about that band.
Okay.
I get a phone call out of the clear blue sky. I guess one of the guys from Bad Brains was singing for him, and then he quit or got kicked out. I don't know. And they offered me a bunch of money, come down and to do some shows with them. I said yes. Learned a bunch of Sublime cover songs. I learned all this bullshit that I would never play. Went, hung out with them for a month, and it was the worst experience I've ever had in my entire life. I mean, I was told the main guy apparently used to be in Sublime, supposedly. I know some people that live in Huntington Beach, and I did a little my own research when I was already up there, found out the guy had nothing to do with Sublime. The dude from White Zombie has nothing to do with their band anymore. One of my buddies who used to play in Smash Mouth, he was in that band for about a month. I called him. He's like, no, dude, nobody from any famous band is in that band. And right now they're running. Long Beach Rehab is running around the United States, ripping off promoters, ripping off venues, false advertising. Nobody that's in that band right now is in any famous band. All the dudes they all quit. They all got ripped off, and they all quit. They hired me to come sing a bunch of shows for a month. I took the money, did the shows, and I split. And that's the end of that. I want zero to do with anything that has to do with that band, period.
No.
Or anybody in it.
You know, as you were speaking, there's so many people who have obviously made it, being they've been on famous bands, join this band, and leave very quickly. Is it? Is it the personality of the people that are still in the band? Is it just what exactly would make all these people? There's got to be a reason why so many people who know the music industry, obviously, you know, on different levels, would continue to leave a band.
It's one person. This guy, his stage name is Cue Ball. His real name is Mike Houlihan. He got actually sued by the current members that are alive from Sublime. They sued him for fraud, I think trademark infringement. He was using their songs, false advertising. This guy is such bullshit. I mean, he looks like the guy, he really looks like Eric Wilson from Sublime, but he's not. He's got the same tattoos. He looks the same way. In fact, they did a show in San Diego, I believe it was at 4th and B a few years ago, and someone smashed a pipe over the guy's head. And it's, if you go to the San Diego Reader website and look up the old articles, it's right there. It's like a few years old. People leave because what the guy does is he offers all these people, same thing he did me, a bunch of money to come down, and then you get there, and then he only gives you a little bit of the money that he said he was going to pay you. You do all these shows, and you realize, wow, we're all getting hustled, and then you just take off. And I'll tell Cue Ball to his face, that guy's full of shit, and if he's got a problem with me, he knows where I live at. Guy's hoodwinking promoters and everything all over the place. Long Beach Rehab, there are no famous people in that band. It's all a big lie, and it's a big joke. If you don't believe me, Google it or look it up on the internet. Just type in Cue Ball, Sublime, LBC, or whatever, and Google it. It's right there.
So is this guy like okay, you said he looks similar, he's got the same tattoos. Is he like a wannabe? Is he like, I'm out to look like this man? I want to be him secretly?
I don't know what he is, Laura. And I'm probably going to get some angry, threatening phone calls, but
I'm sure you are.
He knows where I'm at.
Yeah.
He can come get some. He'll get the shock of his life. I don't know what the dude's deal is. I know that when I went up jam with him for like a month, even the other guys in the band were like, they were just like, why are we here? They're not even from Long Beach. They're in Placerville.
And how far away is that?
The middle of nowhere. That's on the other side of Sacramento. There's nothing there. They're not even from Long Beach. So, I mean, the dude owes me $2,500 for the shows that I did for him. And you know what? As far as I'm concerned, Q-Ball, Mike Huan, he can have it. He can freaking keep his money. I don't care. I just would rather not deal with people like that are perpetuating, like, basically a fraud and lying. And all these promoters all over the country are falling for this. So that's their deal, not mine anymore.
Needless to say, you wouldn't mind if your name was completely eliminated from Long Beach rehab.
I wish I just erased my name from that. That was 1 month out of my life, and he owes me a bunch of money. I don't care. My band's doing a lot better anyway, and at least we're honest. We don't rip people off. We don't rip our fans off. Mm-hmm. I did not know that this was going on, and I had no clue. But I found out, and once I found out, I was already in the machine that was going on. So, but not anymore. I got the hell out of there.
Well, I think me and you had a couple of telephone calls during that period of time when you were just with them and just at the end of it. I remember how upset the real story is, I guess. No, I don't blame you one bit. I don't blame you one bit. We're going to move on to... you have a show, I believe it would be considered a show, and it's called Rise of the Juggalos, and there is 60 million fans or followers in the United States alone. Now, is it true that the Rise of the Juggalos is, I don't want to say knockoff, but something to do with the Insane Clown Posse?
Well, I need to clear that up because I'll probably get sued and I'll probably get my ass kicked every which way. There's a difference. There's a Gathering of the Juggalos, which is in another state. That's another whole deal. And then there's Rise of the Juggalos. We're putting on the Rise of the Juggalos because we've done a bunch of gatherings, mini gatherings, in Southern California.
Okay.
And when we put them on, we average between 600 and 1,000 kids will show up. I mean, we started doing it in the middle of like a warehouse in the middle of nowhere. Kids be Monday, Tuesday night, they all show up. So a bunch of Juggalo groups and myself that I know, because we've been, like I said, we've been doing stuff for like 10 years. Well, why don't we put on a mini tour? Rise of the Juggalos. And a lot of the groups that are on it are playing with like bigger groups, like a lot of the groups are opening for like Tech Nine and stuff's all over the internet. So we decided to put on a handful of shows in Southern California, and it's kind of us paying homage to ICP, to Insane Clown Posse. They don't have anything to do with putting it on, but they're one of my favorite bands, and if anybody knows what the Juggalo stuff's about, some people think it's a joke. It's really far from it. It's huge. And our fans are like really dedicated, so we're just going to give them something on a smaller scale.
Okay, in a few sentences, being like you had just said yourself, some of us aren't knowledgeable about what exactly a Juggalo is. We see, famous people with the Juggalo sign tattooed. Sometimes it's spelt wrong. All that kind of stuff. Can you just briefly explain to us what exactly is a Juggalo?
Juggalos are pretty much a bunch of the most hardcore music fans on the planet. And they're very, very loyal, and they're very dedicated. When they like an artist or a group of artists, whether it be hip-hop or rock, when they like them, they like them. They're not fans, they're fanatics. And that's pretty much all I got to say about that. And if you've never been to a show where there's Juggalos, you need to go to see one. You see some of the most hardcore, dedicated music fans on the planet.
Well, it must be some pretty hardcore dedication for 60 million people in the United States alone to be followers. How long has Rise of the Juggalos been around?
We've been doing them for about 5 years. Those we've been doing for about 5 years, but it's always been really underground. We've been touring for years, but we've been doing like our Rise of the Juggalo stuff mainly for smaller groups that nobody's ever heard of. And, we were putting stuff on it. Venues, amphitheaters, warehouses, I mean, you name it, and we did it. And now it's becoming, since the whole FBI thing, I'm sure you're going to get into that.
Yeah.
It's become a bit more public, which is fine with me, because that's just more people getting turned on to the music.
And speaking of that, it seems, as you said, the FBI, and I'm sure there's other agencies involved in this, they're considering the Rise of the Juggalo as a gang. How do you feel about being where you guys are just a group of music lovers, get together, like to party, so on and so forth, and then all of a sudden, because you have 60 million fans, all of a sudden you're a gang?
Well, I did. I looked that up on the FBI site. I think it's the funniest thing ever. I think for publicity, I think it's great. But Juggalos, a gang, and I know the article you're referring to, they're comparing Juggalos to Bloods and Crips. Really? Are you kidding? We were clown makeup, dude. Really?
Yeah, you're not tossing razor blades around in your mouth.
I don't know. I mean, granted, there's people in every subculture, like punkers or when Marilyn Manson was popular, the Mansonites, that's what I used to call them. There's people in every subculture that are going to do stuff, and some of them happen to commit crimes and show up with like 50 people and break stuff. That just happens. But as far as a gang, I mean, I won't go so far as to say that. I do know if you have a problem with one of them, with one Juggalo, you're probably going to have about 100 people wanting to kick your ass.
Well, that's more like a posse. That's not a gang. I mean, you find that in the biker world all the time. That's not gang. That's posse. It's I got your back. That's friends.
I know some bikers too.
Yeah.
And I know you know some bikers.
I know. Yeah.
Gang, I don't know. It depends. I don't know. California, the whole gang classification is completely different than it is in the Midwest.
Sure.
So I don't know.
We don't really have much gangs here.
Yeah, well, move to Southern California and you'll be in for a rude awakening.
Oh, I've been to New York City. I've seen them. I understand what they try to accomplish.
But I think they're music fans. I think the FBI or whoever, I think they're just completely overreacting. I mean, people, clicks and whatever, there's just always going to be that. And I think they're overreacting, really, gang classification. So if I have a Hatchet Man shirt on, I could get hemmed up walking through San Diego, like, and end up as a gang member, really? That's kind of funny.
Don't you think our FBI and other type of agencies should be looking for people who really cause problems instead of people that love to be at a concert?
Claim themselves as juggalos. There's one guy who killed like 5 people. Some guy shot a bunch of people. One kid who had a juggalo tattoo and a little Hatchet Man shot up a school or something. I mean, when you do that kind of stuff, there's always some dumbass that's going to do something. But I mean, really, as a whole, a gang, really, on makeup,
right? Just because it's like something that they just point out. Oh, he had a juggalo tattoo, so he's a bad person. They don't look at it as he may be just an asshole to begin with.
I don't know. I really don't know. I just know California is different than everywhere else, and people do all kinds of shit here. So But I think it's a little overblown. I think it's a lot overblown. You know, I think it's ridiculous. I think they're just music fans. They're kids, man. Most juggalos are kids, not all, and they're music fans. They're just really serious about their music, a little more serious than they probably should be, but that's just how it is.
All right, Willie, we're on our break, and I am going to be playing your song, My Black Wings, and I will be right back.
Okay.